Well, we begin with soaring tensions between the US and China, the latest episode sparked by China's plans to impose a national security law in Hong Kong. So China has warned that it will retaliate if the US takes any action, and the announcement comes hours ahead of a news conference planned by US President Donald Trump to outline his response to China.
We are not happy with China. We are not happy with what's happened. All over the world, people are suffering. 186 countries. All over the world, they're suffering. We're not happy.
Laying the groundwork to take action against China is Tai Sa over Beijing's move to impose tough national security laws on Hong Kong. US media say one of the measures being considered targets the thousands of Chinese graduate students at American universities. They could have their visas annulled. The pro-Beijing government in Hong Kong has warned the US against meddling. It says removing the city's special status could backfire on the US economy, but the matter continues to draw international concern. The UK, US, Australia and Canada have jointly said the new law by China would directly conflict with its obligations under the Handover Agreement. If it goes ahead, Britain says it would give greater visa rights to overseas British national passport holders, a status offered to many locals in Hong Kong at the time of the 1997 handover.
We will change that status and we will remove that 6-month limit and allow those B&O passport holders to come to the UK and to apply to work and study for extendable periods of 12 months, and that would itself provide a pathway to future citizenship.
China maintains that the new law is in the interest of protecting peace and long-term stability in Hong Kong.
And Simon Marks joins us from Washington, D.C. right now. Simon, why are reports suggesting that students specifically would be targeted?
Well, I think for a couple of different reasons, Glenda. First of all, those reports are a result of briefings that some reporters have received from officials within the Trump administration, off-the-record briefings. So that gives us a pretty clear sense that certainly this is being considered, that these students and researchers working in the United States, around 3,000 of them, at American educational institutions, but the Trump administration believes with ties to educational institutions in China that are controlled by or related to the People's Liberation Army, will be told to leave the country. So clearly we know that the Trump administration has been thinking about that, even if it's not part of whatever announcement President Trump makes today. And let me just say, first of all, that there is nothing on the president's schedule currently to indicate that an announcement is actually coming today. He said yesterday that we'd be hearing from him in this press conference about this on Friday, but currently the White House has not given any indication of when that might occur. But the other reason for going after potentially these students is that it'd be pretty easy for the Trump administration simply to say, your visas are revoked, leave the country, you've got 72, 96 hours, however long it may be, to pack your belongings and leave. There would be some impact on America's educational institutions of all of this, of course, financially, because they have come to rely in quite a substantial measure on fees that are paid by Chinese students, particularly in the summer months here in the United States. So losing 3,000 of those fee-paying students would have an impact, but it's a relatively low-hanging piece of fruit that the Trump administration could theoretically pick, and it would, they believe, convey a message to Beijing that they are very serious about ratcheting up the pressure and taking action.
And Simon, it's not just the US that is taking issue with Hong Kong's security law. We understand that it could also be heading to the UN today.
Yes, that's absolutely correct. There will be consideration given to this at the United Nations. I mean, at the end of the day, China, of course, is a permanent 5 member of the United Nations Security Council. That is the body where any serious action would be taken at UN headquarters in New York. And China, because it's a permanent 5 member, has a veto. So the prospects of the United Nations intervening, of the United States being able to put together any kind of effective move at the United United Nations to issue much of a decree that has any kind of weight to it is obviously very, very constrained by the fact that China can simply exercise the veto anytime that it likes. But nonetheless, the United States, as it's demonstrated in the last 24 hours with that joint statement that came from the US, the UK, Australia and Canada. You heard Dominic Raab there indicating that British national overseas passport holders may get more of an opportunity to stay in the UK, possibly as a first stage towards some of those 300,000 Hong Kong residents being afforded citizenship if they choose to leave the territory. This is all indicative of a United States that is trying to put together some kind of an international coalition to pressure China. And China will, of course, be called upon at the United Nations to explain the actions that it's taking, especially given that Britain argues that this is a clear breach of the joint declaration that led to the 1997 handover of Hong Kong, the end of British colonial authority there, and that Britain argues is treaty law that the Chinese are now proposing to break. China, of course, completely rejects those assertions.
Many thanks for getting us up to speed. China, Simon Mark speaking to us there from Washington, D.C.